Good evening, YouTube. My name is Yusuf and you are watching my news channel. Today I will be making a short weather video, partly because there is an ongoing storm, which is now above our heads here in Belgium. And already it has done a little bit of damage to the railways, I think, in some parts of Flanders, but also in general. And this storm has been the most intense over the UK, where they issued a code red, I believe, on the weather channels. So, but before we do that, let's take a look at the weather in general, because it also explains why there are storms, and this might be interesting to know for the viewer. So, at the time of speaking, we are in what we call a positive Arctic oscillation. This means that low pressure systems will be hovering around the strong polar vortex this year. And by the way, there have been no sudden stratospheric warmings whatsoever. So I do believe this condition will continue in the following months, as opposed to a negative phase where when it is negative, cold actually pours in to the United States and parts of Europe, and also over Russia, because then the polar vortex becomes weak. As it warms up, the motion becomes weaker, and thus it cannot hold the cold anymore. This is not the case this year. This year there have been very strong low pressure systems which are hovering the Arctic, and this is what you can expect in a positive phase. So essentially this is what's happening. There is a storm which has already named Storm Eunice, I think, over Europe, and this is what's battering Belgium right now, and which passed over the UK. So if you look at the geopotential height anomaly, we see indeed there has been no anomaly in the upper section of the atmosphere, so no sudden stratospheric warmings, as I said before. And this is clearly seen over here. Let me see. Yes, when we look at the temperature at the 10 millibar, we can see it is actually consistent, even lower than the average, as you can see in that yellow line. So we could have a strong positive phase over the next couple of months, but I'm saying very carefully could. We can also have a sudden, because usually they happen in spikes, we could have a sudden, that's why they call them sudden warmings in the stratosphere, but let's hope not, because then we would have a very cold spring season, and this is never good for crops, for the joy in general, because spring is a very important season, and having a cold one never feels good. So this year we do have a little bit of hope to have a warm spring season, but we'll have to do with these storms, because now they will be directed to Europe. So let's see at the 10 meter wind speeds. This is from the climate reanalyzer, and as you can see, this storm is now hovering more or less over Belgium and the Netherlands, and it will move on later. Let me see. So this is, we are going back a little bit in time, when it actually hits at 6 in the morning in the UK, and through the whole morning winds have been battering the southern part of the United Kingdom, and now these winds have actually arrived. They started at 2 p.m. here in Belgium, and they are still ongoing. Subsided a little bit, but as you can see, we have actually very bad situations. So we have gusts of wind. If I look at the online forecasts of 100 and 120 kilometers per hour, I can definitely guarantee this is happening now. Very strong gusts of wind, and at sea even 130 kilometers per hour. So this wind has the potential to cause damage to infrastructure. So be warned, and I do believe they have issued a code, a yellow code, I think, here in Belgium for the possible wind damage. And in the UK they issued a code red, because there the winds were even stronger. So there you have it. Let's go back over here This is the Earth 3D map. And as you can see, let me just zoom that in. Winds are actually strongest at the shores, but also a little bit main inland. Over Belgium now, northern parts of France, Netherlands, going even to the Denmarks. And let me just go back over here. It will also, well, this is actually the low pressure systems, also northern parts of Germany, Poland, etc. Then as it goes to towards Russia, it will completely weaken out. But another thing, there is actually another low pressure system, and I'm not sure if it will actually develop into a storm or not, because the forecast says when it arrives Monday, it will weaken substantially. But again, this is only a forecast. So we'll have to see whether or not this storm will weaken. Let me just go now to the global wind map to show you something. It's loading, yes. So this will be the general weather pattern. In this positive Arctic oscillations, we will have high pressure systems centered over the Atlantic and low pressure systems dancing over northern parts of Europe, Scandinavia, and usually they will come through here and make impact on the UK and then find their way like this. So they will actually circle the Arctic, and I do believe this will be a sustained pattern until we have or not a certain stratospheric warming. Let's hope not. So this will bring warm weather, assuming that these high pressure systems can find their way over Europe and actually be sustained on the place. But if these low pressure systems keep moving southwards, then it's going to be a very wet spring season with lots of wind, storms, etc. Let's hope this is not the case. So there you have it. Very stormy weather over the UK a few hours ago, now over Belgium. Don't take this lightly. Weather warnings have been issued, and I can guarantee the winds were pretty intense even here in Belgium. Oh yes, before I end the video, let me know whether or not, because I'm using a headset instead of a microphone, and I don't know if my voice comes out better via the microphone or not. You can easily check this by clicking on a previous video and listening actually to that other one to see whether or not the headset is better, and I would love to hear a little bit of feedback so I know next time if I should use the microphone or not. Personally, I find it more easy to use the headset than the microphone, but if the sound is too awful, I'll switch back to the mic. So let's cite a philosophical quote before we end this video, and I do believe the last one was 62. Yes, so now we are at 63. Two persons die remorseful, he who possessed and enjoyed not, and he who knew but did not practice. So let me give a very concrete example. For that first one, he who possessed and enjoyed not, rich people, for example, that keep holding money, who never actually enjoyed life, people that keep saving money until they die. But this saying applies also to other things as well. But that's what this says, essentially, the first part of it. So if you do have possessions or anything you can enjoy, don't wait until you die, because nobody knows when he dies. Could be next day, could be in a week, could be in a couple of years, who knows. And the next part, he who knew but did not practice. Again, a very easy example. Suppose you are religious and you actually believe but you don't practice, like myself. know that when you die, you will get. It's like when you go to a restaurant, you will get the bill served. So, but this applies also to other things. If you can help people and you do not, for example, you will die remorseful. There is something you had to do but didn't do, you will also die remorseful. So, moral of this is while you'll possess something or you know something, use that knowledge or use that money or possession before you die, because when you die it's too late and you will have a remorseful death. That's it for today, people. Thank you for watching my video, and I hope I will make other ones in the future. But yes, it has been a while since I actually made a video, but I wanted to say my mother felt ill since the 21st of January, very, very ill. And it's only now, these last couple of days, actually a day or two, that she actually is a little bit better. So I had a very, very rough time. That's basically the reason why I didn't make any video. It has been an awful month of January, but also these 2 first weeks of February have been very difficult for me. But anyway, now I honestly hope she will be better, and I hope to make new videos in the near future. Thank you for watching, and I guess we see each other again. Bye bye, everyone.